Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. This is the third Gretchen R. Iben concert for this year's series, and we're so glad to have the KAIA Quartet. This is their fourth time here. So I haven't heard them before. I heard them practicing, and it's awesome. They have some recordings in some bags I saw out the main doors there. I wanted to make sure that you knew there's a reception right afterwards in the parlor. KAIA, which I didn't know, is an old Greek word, and they tell me it means goddess of the earth. So if you were wondering like I was, that's what it means. You have some of the other concerts that are coming up on the Iben series. I wanted to mention one that's not in the series, and that is the Riverbend Bronze Handbell Ensemble will be here December 7th at 3 o'clock. And they're going to have a lot of bells, and it's all Christmas. So feel free, please, to come to that. I think that's everything. So thank you so much, and help me welcome the KAIA String Quartet.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We're excited to be here. We're the KAIA String Quartet, as she mentioned, and part of our mission is to bring to light the music of Latin America and Latin American composers. And so this program will be a variety of compositions by Latin American composers or composers that were inspired by part of Latin American culture. The first piece has such a wonderful story that I just wanted to share it with you before we start playing. So this is by a Venezuelan composer, Efraín Amaya, and it is titled Angelica, and it comes from the legends of Charlemagne. Charlemagne's nephew, Ronaldo, is a favored knight, and they have a jousting festival. Ronaldo is there, and then Angelica shows up, and she is the most beautiful woman there. Everyone is falling in love with her, including Ronaldo. So he decides to woo her and chases her through a forest, as one does when you're in love. This forest is not just any forest, it's a magical forest that Merlin has placed 2 fountains in. The first fountain, if you drink from it, you will immediately despise what you previously loved. And the second fountain, if you drink from it, you will immediately love the first person you set eyes on. So you might guess what happens. They're running through the forest. Ronaldo gets tired, and he finds the first fountain and drinks from it and decides to take a nap. Angelica finds the second fountain, and she comes across Ronaldo sleeping and is immediately smitten with him. She wakes him up, and he no longer loves her, and now the chase is reversed through the forest back to the festival. I think Efraín Amaya does a fantastic job of portraying this story through the music. So you'll hear lots of techniques and other musical, ways that he explains the music. In the beginning, it's a very joyous festival music. You'll hear some snap pizzicatos in the cello that I like to think are swords clanging, or the lances, or knights walking around in armor clinking around. And then you'll hear a musical chase, a fugue, where each of us take a melody and pass it around to represent their chase through the forest. After that, there will be a slow melodic section You'll hear maybe the water gurgling in some of the instruments, and then you'll hear a beautiful melody played by the violin and the cello, but displaced by a measure to represent their displaced love. After that, we will return back to the the jousting festival music, but this time there will be a level of complexity added through counter melodies, through rhythms, and Amaya says this is to represent the complexity and cyclical nature of love. So here is Angelica by Ephraim Amaya.
Thank you very much. I hope that got you a little bit in the mood for moving your skeleton a little bit. We're just so pleased to be here and playing this concert for you. The next piece that we are going to play is by a living composer. Her name is Clarice Assad. She's Brazilian. She's actually very popular these days in the classical music community. Her works are really sought by so many different organizations and ensembles. She gets a lot of her music played by London Symphony. She really is a wonderful composer. This piece that we have for you today was commissioned by the KAIA String Quartet in 2022, so it's a pretty recent piece. It's called Canções de América, which means Songs from America. She based this work, it's a six-movement work, and it's based in different folk songs and dance music from South America. So she uses things from Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil, and a lot of music from the Andes region, you know, Ecuador, Peru, and all of that, and a little bit of Guarani, which is one of the indigenous cultures that still remain in the regions of Paraguay, especially. So she's kind of an eclectic composer in many ways. Her style might strike you at times, because she definitely uses textures throughout the quartet. She plays a lot with sound qualities, so you get like from scratchy sounds to very shimmery kind of flute-like sounds throughout. But she's always doing that in seek of finding a sound world to take you to. She incorporates that very beautifully with the use of rhythm that portrays those different styles of music. So hopefully you can follow your program. You have each movement outlined. The first one, the danza, is based on the rhythm of milonga, and that comes from the region of Uruguay and Argentina, but this one is particularly based on a Uruguayan one. The second one is a choro that comes from Brazil. The third one is tango from Argentina. The fourth one, it's an intermezzo, so it's kind of like like a palate cleanse, you know, when you go to get a meal and it's too thick, so then you need something a little, or the coffee beans when you're smelling perfume, something like that. The fifth movement is Andina, that's the Andes region. It has a really beautiful shimmery sound in the upper strings while the cello just plays this wonderful melody. I highly, this is just my personal thing, but recommend that you close your eyes for that. I think it's very special. And then the last movement, Purae, that's also based in a folk song from the Guarani culture from Paraguay. So we really hope you enjoy this piece by Clarice Assad, Canções de América.
That might be the most.
Susan, you have to turn it on.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That would really help. Sorry up there. Okay. Anyway, I think you made it through the most intense part of the program. So you're still with us. I appreciate you guys. The next piece we have is Shadow Effect. It's my pleasure to introduce it, mostly because of the person who wrote it for us, and we've had a really good time performing it since we premiered it last March, actually, in Chicago. The composer, Amos Gillespie, he's teaching at UIC. He's a jazz saxophone player, but also a phenomenal composer. And so we commissioned him to write this piece in honor of Women's History Month, considering part of what we do is promote not only Latin American culture, but also women in composition, which is, compared to women performing, is still like underrepresented for sure. So anyway, the inspiration behind this commission was Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, who, if you look up, you can Google her writing. She was, you could say, she was an intellectual, okay? So she wrote poetry, she wrote like, you know, very dry materials that I honestly have not read, more like musings, theological musings, philosophical musings. But her poetry is absolutely fantastic. There's so much of it. We picked just 3 of her poems, and you can, they're related to each of the 3 movements. So instead of me rambling more about it, I thought I could just read what Amos wanted you guys to know about the piece, since he's alive, which is great. And he actually wrote our audiences a special note from him just regarding how he composed it and what he sort of wanted you guys to know about it. So this is from Amos. He says, the first section, titled Let Us Pretend, is about being skeptical of those who boast knowledge. So super relevant for today, all these things. It's amazing. She wrote these so long ago, and they could have been written in the 21st century. The second section, titled The Original, is about recognizing the mind's natural will for good. In example, dreams being the effort of the mind to sort things out, or art being the imprint of the mind's effort to make all that is good the greater importance in life. So that one, that's one to chew on. That one made me think for a little bit. I love kind of the meaning that she saw in art. It's pretty cool. And then the third section, You Foolish Men, is about the disgust in others that was caused by the accuser or observer. So we don't have to like single men out in this. It's like all hypocrisy, regardless of who it is. Since the messages in these poems were so relevant to today, I drew on the Baroque music of Sor Juana's time period to illustrate how wisdom from the past eras can be used to benefit modern times. So you'll hear maybe a little Baroque. He can't help but bring his jazz into it, but I think it's just a really lovely piece, very tonal, yet with some unexpected twists, as you know, jazz musicians are wont to throw in. So this is Shadow Effect by Amos Gillespie. Oh yes, okay. Good point. Thank you, Victoria. So the second and third sections in your program, they're like very formally separate things. There is no actual break in between them. So if you feel like you should clap and you think it's only been 2 sections, you should probably clap. If you clap in the wrong place, we will never get upset. But it will sound like 2 sections, just as a heads up. All right.
Thank you very much. I hope you're enjoying the program so far. We have one more selection for you this evening, and this is going to be a piece by Astor Piazzolla. Piazzolla was an Argentinian composer. He was a bandoneon player. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the bandoneon. Typically, it's the instrument that represents tango music. It belongs to the family of the accordion, so it has bellows that open and close, but it doesn't have the keys, like the keyboard, like the accordion has. It just has buttons. It's actually a very interesting instrument. It was originated in Germany, and it was created meant to be a portable church organ, kind of to take down in parades. It didn't work out, you guys. It was a terrible instrument built without patterns, and so Germans didn't like it, and they sent it to South America, and it made its way to the south. And even though the bandoneon is not one of the original instruments used in the origins of tango, it really did become an icon of the music. One hears the bandoneon, and you immediately get transported to the region of Rio de la Plata. So that was Piazzolla's instrument. And he kind of has a very interesting story. He comes from an Italian family. He was born in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. And when he was a teenager, his family actually moved to New York City. And so he grew up in Argentina playing tango, and then he was very involved in the tango community in New York, actually, which was pretty heavy during the 40s and the 50s. And then as a young composer, Piazzolla moved to France and studied with Nadia Boulanger, who was a very important composer and teacher who, taught really, from Ravel on, like, so many famous composers. So Piazzolla was one of his students. And she really encouraged him to use his roots for his compositions. And Piazzolla had kind of a mission as an artist, and he really wanted to, in his words, not mine, elevate tango music. That was kind of his thing. He wanted the music to become the center of attention and not the dancers. Although I will tell you guys, when I go see tango, I always end up looking at the dancers, but don't tell Piazzolla. So he really wanted to fuse a lot of his musical traditions that he grew up with. He had an absolute adoration for Bach and Bach's forms. And he was a big admirer of Alberto Ginastera's, another composer that incorporated a lot of Argentinian folk into his writing. He also played a lot of jazz, did a lot of improvisation, and collaborated with pretty much musicians that came from completely different backgrounds. In fact, he has a very interesting album he recorded with American saxophone player Jerry Mulligan, which is absolutely fantastic. The piece that we are going to play for you today was arranged for the string quartet, obviously. No bandoneon here that is hiding behind over there. It's called Muerte del Ángel, Death of the Angel. This particular piece was envisioned as part of a trilogy, I should say, that included an introduction, death, and resurrection. It was written for a play in which that represented a group of neighbors in Buenos Aires that had all kinds of disputes, and this angel came to save them, and he ends up getting in a fight and dies in this fight only for the sake of the person he was protecting. So it's kind of a beautiful story, a little dramatic, but don't worry, he resurrects, so it's all good. We're just not gonna play Resurrection right now, we're just gonna play Death of the Angel, and it's just a really fun piece. He uses a lot of the elements of the fugue. Talk about his admiration for Bach. You're gonna hear this melodic musical materials get passed around, and as usual, he always inserts a beautiful, slow tune that just makes you dream. So we love playing a lot of Piazzolla, and so we hope you really enjoy that. Now, before we get to play, I just want to take a moment and thank you all for being here. This is our 4th time in this absolutely amazing space, and we couldn't be happier. We really hope that this is not the last time that we come and we get to play for you. Out there we have a table with CDs and KAIA tote bags and whatnot. You can sign up to our newsletter if you're ever in Chicago, or we might play around here too. So we can keep you posted with what we do. We're very grateful for hosting us. I don't know where Polly is. Oh, there she is. Thank you so much for having us. And here is Muerte del Ángel by Astor Piazzolla. Thank you. Thank you so much. Actually, we have one more out of the program if you guys want to hear it. Yeah, okay, good. Actually, this next one is it's really, really special. I will tell you why. It's a piece by Piazzolla as well. It's named Sita. The reason it's special, you guys are getting the premiere of this arrangement. This is the first time we're going to be playing this piece. I mean, Piazzolla usually wrote pieces for his ensembles, whatever that meant. When he came back from France, he had an onet, so he had an ensemble of 9 instruments. And then he moved on to having a quartet, and the last ensemble that he toured with, it was actually a quintet that included drum set. Talk about the influence of jazz. So this particular piece was written in that stage of his career. When he had the quintet, he already had a really big reputation as a musician, and he allowed himself to play around with what he wrote. I mean, he got to stand on stage and just play his music, not doing any covers by anybody. So this is what, this tune was born in that stage, his older stage as a composer. And it's particularly special to us because it was an arrangement that was made for us. My father's a cellist. He was a student of Bragato, who was Piazzolla's cellist. So there's a strong connection there, and you're gonna hear why the arranger is a cellist, because he gave all the beautiful tunes to the cello. I didn't get any of them, but that's okay. And then he gave one to the viola. So Naomi and I get to play all the fast, fun, high stuff. So anyway, so you guys are getting the premiere of that arrangement, so we'll love to hear your thoughts at the end of the concert. Thank you guys again for being here. Here is Sita by Astor Piazzolla.